Oh, damn. Bye. Hi, welcome back to the Truth Doctor Show. My name is Dr. Courtney Tracy. I'm known as the Truth Doctor. And on this show, I talk about the world through a mental health lens using pop culture and the media as my medium. Today, I am doing a react video based off so many requests for me reacting to the mental health, substance use, and family dynamics within the show Arcane from Netflix. I tried to do some research to figure out what the heck is this show about, because I don't play video games that often. I don't watch too many animated series, but from what I've heard, it's very appropriate for a mental health professional to be commenting on the content of this series. So I'm going to start with episode 1. If it has good feedback or a lot of views or a lot of requests for the following episodes, then I will continue this as a series. Thanks for being here. Please remember to subscribe, like this video if you end up liking it. Let's get started. First thing that's coming up for me is that these young girls are being exposed to a very traumatizing situation. Because I don't know the characters yet, thoughts are going through my head. Was that their mother? Is this man their father? And why did this man drop essentially his armored hands? My assumption is because he realized how much the violence and the fighting had led to the death of this woman, whoever it is. Wherever this story is going, the trauma is absolutely going to be following all of these people that are involved. Arcane, League of Legends. Here we go. Wow, what a beautiful place to live.
Powder, look at me. What did I tell you?
That I'm ready.
That's right. So?
Thanks.
Seems like we have two sisters here. We have Powder, who is the younger sister, and then we have Vi, who's the older sister. I'm not quite sure where that father figure is, but hopefully we'll get to that at some point. What I already see in this dynamic is that Vi has become possibly parentified and is looking after Powder, trying to teach her strengths and teach her how to survive, and actually taking moments where she's saving her life, like when she holds her hand and catches her from falling off the building. This can happen a lot when a family, let's say siblings, are exposed to traumatizing situations. The older siblings at times can be more emotionally mature and have just experienced different things in life. And so they're capable of sort of taking the reins. Not that they should have to do that, but it does happen often, taking the reins and making sure that their younger siblings are actually taken care of. I do want to note, however, that sometimes the role is reversed and sometimes the younger child is more mature than the older child. And we can see that that dynamic can happen as well. But clearly here, Vi is taking care of Powder.
Who locks their balcony?
Who locks their balcony? Well, I certainly do.
Powder, we gotta go.
What are those blue things? They seem so relevant. She just took all of them. Oh. One thing I'm noticing here is that the attire is so different from what Powder and Vi and their friends are wearing and what we see these people wearing in this top level environment that they have snuck into and are now trying to escape from. There has to be some type of divide going on. And I wonder if that's why people like this, because it's clearly something that's going on in our actual human society today as well. Okay, yeah.
Just got this shirt.
So in order for them to get to where they are, they have to go through this really dirty dungeon, pipe, whatever it is.
Just a taste?
Just...
Oh, damn. Bye. Powder just exposed to violence over and over and over again. They all are, but Powder's the youngest. And I don't quite think she knows how to process or understand why her world is the way that it is. There is something known as the scarcity effect. Makes people act in certain ways when they feel like they don't have enough of what it is that they need. It often puts people into something called survival mode. And one thing I noticed about the discrepancy in this world above and the world below is that above, the society seemed to be functioning normally. People were just walking around the streets. They seemed to be getting along with one another. And then there was these enforcers that seemed to be protecting the people that were on the top level. Then down in this darker bottom world, we have people who are living in this scarcity survival mindset, and they end up attacking one another. And there isn't this civil discourse. There isn't this societal stability. And I think it's often a result of feeling like they have to take from one another because there isn't enough resources and there isn't enough supplies for them to have just as much stability and just get along as a community. And we see this all over in reality. We have people who have a bunch of money or a bunch of resources, and then they're even looking at communities and populations that don't have a bunch of money and don't have a bunch of resources, and they think, why are they so violent? Why is there so much crime? Why is there this? Why is there that? And human beings, when we are deprived of our basic needs and of safety, shelter, food, water, a conscious community, then it starts to activate parts of ourselves, parts of our human minds, like our amygdala. It makes us feel afraid, and other emotional parts of us. Like, we're probably exposed to more trauma because of the environment. Like we can see here, there's a bunch of violence and a taking of resources, and that can cause us to become programmed in certain ways as well. It's a very important point to make that your environment plays a significant role in your behavior. Yeah. What a very different world underneath. A lot more sex, drugs, alcohol, and violence just on these streets down in this underworld.
Stick with us. Take a punch or two.
Telling the young girl to take a punch or two seems
Everyone
a little bit
alright?
unfair.
Never better.
Not plenty, while we're down here scraping together coins. When did you get
Well,
so
we're down
comfortable
here
living in
scraping
someone else's
together
shadow?
coins.
Those kids look up to you.
Yeah, I know.
You know, but you don't know. When people look up to you, you don't get to be selfish.
I'm
You
not-
say run, they run.
I liked what Vander said there, and I think it's very true. When somebody does look up to you, or when people do look up to you, you really can't be selfish. This is everything from parents to teachers to partners to community leaders to government officials. However, I think we often find that people can be pretty selfish in those situations. And one thing that I've also seen so far in this show is that Vander, you could see that he was really involved in the violence in the beginning of the episode, and then he let his armor down off of his hands. And now he doesn't really believe in disrupting. Pillover, I think, is this upper community, and would rather just lay low to not be in harm's way, to not really be found, and to just, it feels a little bit like he has succumbed, at least in this episode, to accepting the differences and the divide. So it seems like up at the top, some more maturity, but also some learned helplessness. Like, this is just the way that it is. That's Vander. And then a little bit lower, we have Vi, and she's still scrambling with the acceptance. And that's not that you have to accept this divide, but she's really in the non-acceptance of what this environment is like for her. And so she's combative, and she wants to win, and she wants to get her and her loved ones, her friends, out of the situation. And then we see Powder, who still appears to be much younger and is still grappling with just wanting to feel safe, and is still really infused with that fear. You can see she gets really afraid, and she enters into the freeze mode that humans go into when there's a lot of violence everywhere. It's great that she was able to get up and run away and defend herself, but for a moment there, you could see her standing on the wall and not really wanting to fight, not really wanting to be involved in any of it, and not quite knowing what to do in comparison to the other three at the time when they were all attacking and defending themselves and each other.
Bullshit me. You were twice the person at half your age.
You know what, Milo? You're right. There's a bunch of things Powder just can't do.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Like complain about everything.
What?
It's sad that Powder walked away too soon and that she wasn't able to hear what Vi was actually going to say about her, and she was defending her to a degree. She did say,
Powder's my problem, okay? Your problem is never knowing when to shut up.
Powder is her problem. So kind of calling her a problem, which is a bit of a problem. But at the same time, now Powder believes that she is a problem and that she can't do anything right. And that's going to make Powder start pulling away from this group. And I don't think she has anybody outside of this group. And so I don't really know what's going to end up happening. If you do know already, please don't put it in the comments.
Yeah, no spoilers.
When we hear people talking bad about us, it starts to make us feel like we don't belong there. And then often we find something else to attach to that might not be better for us.
Yeah, they're growing up, Vander. Looking to write their own stories. You can't protect them forever.
Kids wanting to write their own stories. That's so very true. And it's hard to know when is the right time or the right place or the right situation to let children do that. This seems like a pretty tumultuous situation and pretty dangerous situation. But if we're staying in the context of this actual show, I don't know when the right time would be. Maybe we'll find out. I want to point something out there. It looked like the enforcer went and put a mask on over their face when they went outside of the building. What I'm assuming that implies is that the air quality or the environment down in the Undercity is so toxic that when people from above come down there, it's almost impossible for them to breathe. And so they actually have to have something that's helping them breathe better, which really just goes to show how absolutely different these two environments are.
People need to feel safe.
Yeah, topside people.
People need to feel safe. Yeah, topside people. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Grayson, but I can't offer up my own people.
I like that he said that. I'm sorry, but I can't offer up my own people. This happens a lot. I brought this up a lot during my Euphoria reacts as well. Underground culture, on the outskirts culture, drug culture, crime culture. Living in this Undercity is a great representation of how there's still values and morals. Like, sure, yes, we are in a scarcity mindset and we are all in survival mode. And sure, maybe at times we're thinking independently and we're making our own choices and we're doing selfish things like what Vi did. And I'm not going to give up my own people. We are going to stay united. And that's really, really important because, again, sometimes people don't think that there's values, morals, respects, and community and connection in these types of underground worlds. And often, or sometimes I should say, it's more represented below in these quieter, darker spaces than on the surface.
You want to talk about today?
What's the point? It ruined everything. I
I'm
always
really glad that
Nobody
Vi
said
is
that.
coming down to talk to
No,
Powder and see what's
do.
going
Just that
on.
you were twice the person at half my age. I'm not a fighter.
You don't have to be.
I also really love how Vi is trying to tell Powder that she can be her own person. She doesn't have to be a fighter. And I think in a way, trying to keep her young and not affected by the world around her, even though that's kind of impossible.
We've all had bad days. But we learn. And we stick together.
But we learn and we stick together.
Powder, you're stronger than you think. And one day, this city's gonna respect us.
But keep him off
Okay,
the
who
streets.
is this leader guy over here? Oh no. Hmm. Poor little rat. Oh.
Do you have a subject in mind?
The characters in the show that we've had a little bit of insight into are Vander, Vi, and Powder. Start with Vander. Talked a little bit about him being older, more accepting of the situation. Even when the enforcers or somebody that represented the council from above came down to talk to Vander, it seemed like they had an understanding of like how to keep the peace sort of, but also keep things the way that they are. So again, that acceptance piece. Then we have Vi. And one of the last things that she says is that one day this city or this world is going to respect us or respect me. she's still in that non-acceptance space. But not only that, she's in this vengeful space. She's in the, I want things to be different and I want to use all the power that I have to make things different. It's fight mode. It truly is fight mode. It's an understanding of what's happening, but it's infused with a lot of anger and honestly, probably a lot of sadness, because usually underneath anger is sadness to some degree, because we don't want something to have happened, or we wish that something did happen that ended up not happening. Then we have Powder. Again, really young, seems very impressionable, seems like, you know, she's willing to keep it a secret, these blue gems that they found. As soon as Vi says, let's keep it a secret from Vander, still more in that fear mode, capable of fighting and defending herself, but still finds a lot of resistance to fighting and a lot of overwhelm when it comes to fighting. So I'm really interested to see where these characters go and how they develop. If you want me to react to episode 2 onward, I know that there's only one season of this show so far, then let me know in the comments below. We are looking to hit a certain mark that will let us know whether or not this is something that we should continue to do, to really indicate that there's a community for this, because these videos take a lot of time. Please let me know if you know people, if you liked this video, please share it on your socials and let me know. Let me find the Arcane community, because I'd love to dive more into these characters. And what are you thinking about the differences between me reacting to actual human being characters that are in shows like Euphoria, and then me reacting to more animated characters like last week's Turning Red and this week's Arcane? Thank you so much for watching. I love my YouTube community, and as always, I am glad that you exist.